Hi, everybody, everyone who's watching. I'm here with one of my very, very good friends, Jordan Terry, who I haven't seen in a year,
That long, that face long.
some period of time. And I'm really excited, so excited to be here with Jordan because I miss him every time I don't get a chance to see his face. So, Jordan, would you like to share who you are, where you live, what your path has been like, what you do?
Who I am, starting with
Yeah,
the deep ones.
I know, right? Who
I'd
are you?
love to. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, it reminds me of a Robert De Niro movie. He's like, who I am. Anyhow, my name is Jordan, as you said, Shane Terry on Facebook. And I live in Santa Cruz, California right now, up in the foothills in a little kind of province town called Bonny Doon. And I have one little tiny phone line that connects us to the rest of the world. Other than that, we are way out in the hills.
Mm.
And so that's where I am these days. I've been in Santa Barbara for about a decade before this, and originally from the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I guess on the healing side of things, the brief story goes was signing up a dear old friend for massage therapy, get a certificate for the US, and the director turned and looked at me and was like, how about you? And that was it. That was the start.
That was your
That little,
invitation.
yeah, right. That was the parallel universe creator, and from there
Uh-huh.
something else happened, different path ensued. So it wasn't like a direct and straight arrow path, but fell in love with it. Touch. In fact, I didn't really enjoy deep tissue massage to start. The light and gentle was nice, but and then I remember watching my first cranial sacral introduction in, being like, "That's a bunch of bullshit,"
Uh,
and and then just slowly just kept taking courses and was able to work while taking courses and having a clientele that I was like, "All right, I just tried this," like Tui Na, a Chinese modality. It's kind of the predecessor to shiatsu, like the Buddhist monks took it from China to Japan, and shiatsu kind of became more formalized and was more recognizable. And would just go to clients like, well, I just took this course. Do you want to experience it? And they're like, sure. So it was great to have
mm,
that relationship and clientele. Mentored under John Harris, a trigger point bodyworker, barefoot bodyworker, went to the Olympics and worked on athletes and everything like that. And
you did?
ended up,
Or this guy did?
I didn't, this guy,
Oh,
John, did.
gotcha.
And yeah, I had to uh, do 80 hours of tutelage, his whole trigger point, while I assisted to be cleared to teach at the massage school. And
Mm.
he wrote a book called Fix Pain. And I remember in those,
That makes me laugh now.
I know it does, makes me laugh too.
What?
But what also makes me laugh is like being like, oh my God, this is it.
Yeah.
And then realizing not so much. And then doing that at least another 10 times after courses, coming home from it and being like, this is it.
This is
You
what I
just need
needed.
fill in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Huh.
And then realizing quickly, oh, you didn't need that.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Right.
Pursuing from there, yeah. Rabbit holes after one after another, and a bunch of them with you and
Mm-hmm.
Noah. Down the rabbit holes we went. Then
Mm-hmm.
everything seemed to fall apart and back into place again.
Mm.
And yeah, so currently I still maintain a small practice down in, sorry, strike that. Currently, I am doing nothing. Oh,
Yeah.
sweet nothing. And it's beautiful. Actually, doing lots, still going surfing. That is
Mm.
definitely my church,
Mm.
my healing, restoration, turn my back on the world, look out to the horizon and see what's coming towards me, and exercise. And do have a couple buddies that we can go surfing and I guess maintain some sort of social distancing. I take the Prius, and the boards have to go lengthways, so the front seat's not available, and so
Right.
it's basically like I chauffeur around the other guy.
Yeah.
But
Well
uh,
done.
yeah, but it is. I picked him up the other day, and he's like, time for therapy,
Hmm.
and I was like, it's so true. And we're out there, and we'll paddle up next to each other and be like, dude, I just forgot about everything going on in the world for like 30 minutes. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's my personal therapy and self-care these days, as well as
Hmm.
gardening.
I saw.
Previous, yeah, that was
You've got a
really
beautiful
fun.
garden now.
Yeah, we laid out a bed and tilled in all the new organic compost, and time to sow seeds. What beautiful analogies gardening offers to looking at oneself and life.
Hmm.
So sowing seeds is next, and then watering them to help them grow. And I feel like
Hmm.
it's a big, big time thing happening for everyone right now, that we would have this at spring, moving out of winter, and
Hmm.
such flux.
No kidding. Yeah. I'm curious. Something you said. How many things on your path have you thought were complete bullshit that you now feel the truth in? Besides cranial sacral.
Um, well, that's the
Can you
one I
think
think off the top of my head. I can think of people.
of?
Well, I won't name names.
Yeah.
Teachers, great teachers in the end. I love that bit from Randy of him saying, like, when he finds charge, a reaction of hearing someone else speak or whatever they put out there, that he ends up reaching out to them.
Yeah.
There's been a few people that I've seen that way. Um,
Just so you guys
I
know
don't
the
know, everything a
reference.
little.
I
Go
was just
for it.
going to point people back to Randy Cummins's interview in case they're wondering who Randy
Oh
was.
yeah, who Randy is.
Yeah.
The
Randy
interview with
talked
you.
about being triggered and how when you're triggered by someone, there's a reflection there for you. And then how he has a practice of, instead of shunning that person, he reaches out to them and works with it instead of running away from it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of avoiding it. Yeah. What else? I don't know. I mean, even the evidence-based movement, and research-based, and getting triggered by them, and then learning a lot as well through that. So I'll give some respect to them and that
Right.
crew. Yeah. Uh, I mean, anything energy-based, I think, at the start, but more science people that I read that have delved so far and so deep that they come out the other side. Uh, Bruce Lipton been one that I've had a recent kick back into, and
Mm-hmm.
he just studied the cell, and he just sees the cell as a representation of the whole entire body. Makes sense. And just studied so deeply that now he's like leading speaker on faith and spirituality and science in the world.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I loved his biology of belief. Probably
Mm,
polished that off in like 2 days straight. Did nothing else. Barely ate. Just read. Like, this is
just
so
read.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to think of those things that we at some point consider bullshit,
Right.
and to like, well, somebody finds value in it. Somebody finds something in it. It serves them some point, some path.
Right. I find for myself, if I think something's bullshit, it's because I'm afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there are times that I think something's not useful for me, but it's not a judgment. It doesn't have
Sure.
judgment energy of like, that's bullshit. It's more, man, it's not for me right now.
Well, I think there's a lack of understanding. So when I first saw cranial sacral therapy, it was done with a woman just doing one hold and no explanation.
Oh.
as to what was going on in reciting poetry. So
Oh.
to me, I know, right? It sounds lovely now.
I
I'm like, wow,
know.
what?
I'm like,
But
where is
my
she?
level of,
She's still practicing?
I think no, I think no one is right now in California.
Right.
Um, I think Bay Area.
That's so funny.
Is Mary Sullivan. Much love and respect to her, and also she influenced some of the polarity.
Yeah.
Um, she has her own DVD on polarity therapy and
Mm-hmm.
that, and so yeah, so much love and respect for her. I did get to revisit her cranial sacral later and loved it, and she's full
Mm.
of wonderful knowledge. But from my consciousness at that point in time, right? So
Yeah, it
it
was
comes
too.
back to that delaying judgment
Right.
of just going, okay, well, that's not me for now. Maybe if I knew more, maybe if I asked them better questions.
Right. And it's so great that you've had clients that have gone with you on your journey, that as you've tried different things, they've come along.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think there's some that did not appreciate that, and I thank them. They were great teachers as they used their bodies. Try not to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some that just loved it because they saw the continual study, the continual investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think you asked the question before we hit record, but it feels appropriate now. I love when I have someone fully open before me where we're just allowed to investigate anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all sacred and safe, but it's all fair game to bring the candle into the dark room or shed a flashlight upon it,
Mm-hmm.
and then work with it and go with it. And um, clients that are really open to human beings, that are really open to that. Geez, I love that. That's that
Me too.
give and exchange of energy where it just feels so buzzed and wonderful, and a lot of times like I didn't do much, but that was great.
Yeah.
And they feel the same, and they feel great, or they're out of pain, or they connected with some part of their body that they had been disconnected with, and that led to whatever rabbit hole down from there.
Right.
That giving is in the act of giving and receiving, and when that's happening simultaneously, the energy just compounds exponentially, and
Mm-hmm.
it's palpable. We feel it, we notice it.
Yeah. Another number one focus for me is how to build connection with someone. And if you can build a connection that feels strong, lots and lots of things can happen. But I'm noticing, and I'm really paying attention to lately, the subtle ways people block connection.
Mm, how very fascinating.
Right. So someone may, for instance, give verbal consent for you to work with them, but when you go to work with their bodies, there's no part of that body that wants anything to change.
Yeah, it's a lovely self-sabotaging thing. I'm sure I've been guilty of, and others. We show up and we're like, yeah, of course I'm here to heal, but are we really?
Well, we want to heal, but we're not all in full alignment with it, right? There's some part of us that is too afraid to for whatever reason, that when things change, we will lose something precious, whatever that is.
It serves me. I love
Yeah.
Caroline Mace's term woundology.
Mm-hmm.
And when the wounds serve us in ways that we're not aware of, we will continue to hold on to them and perpetuate their stories and allow that to exist, and not a fully empowering way.
I have a few clues for me that tell me when someone is more interested in being a victim than in receiving help.
Mm.
Um, I'm curious if you have any clues that you perceive.
Most of the time it's in my body.
Mm.
Like recently, just even going into town, my closest neighbors are 2 dogs, 2 cats, 11 chickens before you get to any humans, and they have no idea what's going on, and they're the same. And so sun goes up, sun goes down, and our routines here. And so then
Yeah.
when we go back into town to go to the grocery store, or they've kept our farmer's market, God bless them, open, and to find that center, that me, non-structural center of just, I feel good and I'm happy and I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful and I'm right here. And then know that and be aware of that before entering the space. And then, so recently, one of the grocery stores switched up everything, and they have these dots that you stand on, and they're spaced 6 feet apart,
Yeah,
and this
yeah.
whole thing. And I could not believe how agitated I was when I left there. I was just like,
Really?
holy hell.
Mm.
It was like an agitation that I don't have in my
Mm-hmm.
center, that I don't feel, but boy did I ever acknowledge that. It was like
Yeah.
every mile we got out of town, my breath just got deeper and fuller and felt better.
Right.
And so then when it's one-on-one working with people, especially with stories these days, when people tell stories and their partial truths, I just notice, sound like a physical hiccup, but I want to give the feeling a hiccup.
You
And
feel
when I'm like,
a hiccup in your body?
yeah, like
Oh,
a neurological hiccup,
okay.
like because I love Power versus Force, Dr. Hawkins' book. What is it? It's a Richard Hawkins. Um, and that he talks about that the body responds to truth. So like
Mm-hmm.
muscle testing and using all those different things. It's never based on shoulds or coulds. It's based on truth. So it's best to state state truth, make
Right.
statements of truth or untruth, and the body will respond as such by classically being strong to truth and weakening to untruth. So
Right.
to me, it's some interpretation of that. I've heard stories from other people in classes and courses that they recognize it and feel that in different ways. And, but to me, it's just, especially like during intake when the stories are coming out about what happened, is
Mm-hmm.
happening in their life. And it's just kind of like I want to ask more about that.
Yep.
So that's one way.
So in your body, you're experiencing, whether people are in alignment with truth or out of alignment with truth, essentially.
Say so.
Yeah. And
Mm,
when we say true, of course, everyone has their own truth, their own version of truth. But
absolutely.
my experience of this is like whether or not the person is in alignment with the highest truth.
Yeah.
Like if someone says they talk about their disease as being theirs, like my cancer, my whatever, my my
Sciatica.
stroke, my sciatica. There's a non-resonance for me around that. And if I hear them saying it over and over again and identifying with their condition, that for me is kind of a red flag, especially if we've come and we've worked through things around that. It's a sign that that condition is serving them. And then we probably won't be able to go too much farther unless there's a shift.
Sure.
That's kind of my sense of things anyway. But I'm
Well,
noticing
reverse
there's,
interview. I want to ask you then. Yeah. How do
yeah.
you? How do you then, once you do notice that, pose that back to them, open that space to
Yeah.
that person? That, hey, I'm noticing this, and if then you notice that there won't be a shift, or not willingness or recognition, how you then end that?
It's a good question because it's not my strong suit. This
I
is an
mean, that's
area.
why I'm asking you.
This is an area around which I struggle because I hate to turn people away from treatment. Usually the universe will sort this out for me and the person will just drop off my schedule. Sometimes if I'm not feeling very courageous, I will say, why don't you go off and see how you do for a little while? And when you feel like it's time to come back, you can you can reschedule, and we'll begin again. So that's kind of a passive way that I do it. But to be honest, I'd like to take, a leaf out of Noah's book. My partner Noah, he's very capable of being quite direct in these situations, and he will just very clearly say, I don't think we're getting anywhere, and this is why. I think you're married to this condition. I think you don't want to let go of it. And so he's quite good at having conversations about secondary gains, like the benefits of having and keeping identification with a condition. It's not my strong suit, but I'm working on it. Skill and
Excellent.
development.
Recognition, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of my practices is to not pretend like I'm an expert at everything and just own it when I'm when I'm not good at something.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, you can feel it in your body when somebody's pretending that they know something and they haven't really embodied the skill yet. Right?
Fully.
Yeah.
Love paying attention to the body. It's in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, whereas our minds are rarely ever off in the
Mm-hmm.
future or back in the past.
Right. So what was the hardest? I want to ask you this question kind of specifically about modalities. I'm curious, what was the most challenging modality for you to integrate into your practice and why?
PDTR, proprioceptive deep tendon reflex.
Okay.
It is something else. I love the Arthur C. Clarke, and significantly advanced technology will be indistinguishable from magic, because it lacked like touch, and even though we're getting phenomenal results, and I think it was Thomas Wells who said it was more like a science experiment than that connection.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, having my own experience with it, and it is phenomenal, and nothing is the all and the everything, and definitely came home with a lot of Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And then it was just, okay, how do we find that space? How do we find that connection? How do we find what this person needs? And there's so many paths to the top of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So then once, like, being able to see that, you could kind of do any sort of correction between manual or neurological, repetitive, or hold trauma and help someone out, and yet they would go back into their ways. My favorite was someone with a frozen shoulder, best that it had felt in like 20 years or some ridiculous amount of time. And then Friday at like 5:30 p.m. on a holiday weekend, when family all showed up and they were going to be around all the weekend, it snapped back and got worse.
Mm.
And it was like, this is great news. Like, we found something. We also have a trigger for it. And it was like, I'm just afraid it'll get worse. I don't want to work with you anymore. And it's like,
Oh, wow. Just when the story was at the climax. I mean,
it was different. So
that's interesting.
then that really began the exploration of going into it and delving into the emotional world.
Yeah.
And so getting into cellular release therapy,
which is a hypnotherapy technique, everybody. Yeah.
And Heart of Elijah, and everything else on the personal levels of reading and everything, and being able to go there. Actually, back to Mary Sullivan, she was first person I heard say, can only go as deep with our clients as we can with ourselves.
Yep.
And so then coming back from that, this is not just the most difficult now. This is just the spiral of Sisyphus's rock, tripping and falling and rolling back over myself.
Yeah.
Then it was like, alighting upon so many emotional things that I love. This one guy, Dr. Jerry Tennant, he says that they create their own electromagnetic field and they disrupt your meridians, whether you want to view them as fascial or energetic. I don't see a difference in the two, but you start unlocking those electromagnetic fields and allowing flow again. It's like, wow, amazing. So then I was willing to go there with people, and then I didn't have people willing to go there.
Oh,
And
that's
so
so funny. Do you have a
all this,
practice of calling in your next level of clients?
I don't think consciously I do. I
That
think I
shit
could start that.
works. Yeah,
Mhm.
it really
I think it
works.
was, what is that, white pillar or black pillar from the
I don't know.
the Empress card?
Right.
Or no, not the Empress.
It is the Empress. I think
It,
she does
the
have the
second
pillars,
card with the pillars behind her.
or the High Priestess.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So basically, for everyone watching, every time you change and grow and your vibration increases and you learn new tools and you do your own healing, people fall out of vibration with you and are going to not be interested in working with you anymore if they're not willing to go where you are, if they're not willing to be kind of pulled along in your wake, so to speak. So it's helpful to simply ask the universe for the universe to provide you with the next level of clients or students. If you're a teacher and you teach classes like Jordan does, you will eventually require a new level of students also that will be matching your vibration and be ready and excited to learn what you have to teach. So, little tip
Everything's
that I've
vibration and
learned.
frequency.
Yeah. So old clients will fall away, or you'll see like as you become, like you said, as you become more attracted to and interested in working energetically and emotionally with people, those people who were only interested in physiology and neurology and tissue work are going to just go away. They're not going to be interested in coming with you for that part of the path, which can hurt, but
It's good practice and not
it
taking
is
things personally.
totally.
Showing up, doing my best,
Yeah.
making no assumptions, and asking better questions. That would be the
Right.
4 agreements. I'm not going to take credit for that one.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about working now is asking questions. Honest to God. I love asking questions.
Back in college for architecture, there's this one guy that got all upset because there's was another person in the class, and they would ask horrible questions basically. And I just
Mhm.
remember him being like, God, ask better questions. And like back then and now again too, I want like a t-shirt that says that, or a bumper sticker or something.
Yeah.
Just
A
ask better
bag,
questions.
a hat. Yeah.
Delay judgment and ask better questions.
I think the act of asking really good questions, what it does for people is instead of you telling them what their truth is, it gives them an opportunity to explore what's true for them.
Absolutely.
Helps them to go inside and reflect rather than keeping things on the
Being told.
surface.
There are those that just want to be told, just tell me what to do. What do I need to do?
I don't have those clients. I
I
really don't.
I did. Can't think of any of the this year while still working.
Yeah. No, I don't see people that do that because I specifically have worked very hard on stopping and disempowering people.
It's important. And
Yeah.
that's again what was part of this whole journey as to you mentioned that I teach, and so I now developed a series of classes called Adaptable Polarity, and that was stop drinking the Kool-Aid. In fact, Ronnie Ward from Ireland sent me a article one day. It was like everything works and nothing works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, this is there is truth to this. And so how can I navigate those waters?
Yeah.
How can I also help other navigate those waters? And so, man, being in my body, that's definitely huge, huge
Yeah.
component.
One of the
Uh,
best things that you teach in your class is the pendulum.
love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, use it all the time to pick dinner and everything.
Yeah. And it's a gift. It's a gift for every person that takes your class, and it's also a gift for them to be able to teach it to their clients. I teach it to clients all the time.
Awesome, that's great.
Yeah. Because I want people to be tuning into their own bodies. when people come in, I ask them, what do you want to work on today? If they're like, I don't know, no, I'm like, well, let's check in with your body. What does your body want to do today? Because
Nice.
what good is it for me to make up something for that person to work on? It could be
Yeah,
out of
absolutely.
alignment with what their soul's ready for, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
agree. And so that space then kind of provides you with so many opportunities and ways that, yeah, all sorts of possibilities open up. All sorts
Mm.
of fun, crazy stuff happens. We get the crystals out.
Yes. The colors and all that stuff. For anyone who's
Whatever's needed in
watching,
the moment.
right? For whoever's watching this and who hasn't studied with Jordan, because there's lots of people who are watching this that are from different populations of friends of mine on Facebook. Jordan teaches an amazing class that's kind of a combination of, well, I'll speak from my own experience only
Please
here.
do.
It's kind of a combination of craniosacral work, and it's also energetic. And I know it's somewhat structural for people who need that piece too. I've heard people say that it's more structural for them. But it's also the most relaxing class I've ever taken. It's has been the most healing class that I've ever taken, as far as my body feeling really good and very deeply renewed and refreshed at the end. Um, it's such a wonderful experience to be in your teaching energy
Oh,
and the
I didn't
space that
even
you
pay
hold.
her to say any of that either. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a really
Yep,
lovely, fun exploration.
it's wonderful. Thank you for
You're
plugging
welcome.
that. I
Hmm.
enjoy sharing it and have been getting great feedback from people.
Yeah. I also think it's the healthiest forum for body workers that I have ever been a part of. And I've been a part of a lot of different forums on Facebook. I'm speaking about Facebook, where people from a certain modality get together and share case studies and have questions. And this is the only forum that I know of that I am personally a part of where there's a single modality that people have in common, and yet you welcome all kinds of questions and theories and case studies, and it's just very open and
Yeah,
welcoming.
nothing is off the books. Everything is welcome. Everyone is welcome. And,
Hmm.
I want to hear from all of those things. I remember when you were talking about your sound bath and how that was clearing receptors, and
Hmm.
uh, just even taking a moment to have a nice deep breath and how that can change us on so many different levels. And I want to
Right.
hear what other people are finding in their paths and the wows and uh, miraculous stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
welcome it all. Everything has its place.
it does. And I think, other forums, it's nothing wrong with having a forum where you keep everything limited to only talking about one modality, for instance. But that's just not where I'm at. But I can see the purpose of that. We keep it very focused on questions from, one point of view.
Hmm.
But I think at some point we kind of graduate from that kind of thinking process, right? Like you said, it's not just like I only like cherry lime cool. Is that even a flavor? Cherry lime Kool-Aid. I will
It is
only
now.
drink cherry lime Kool-Aid. Eventually, you're going to want to have lots of different flavors of Kool-Aid that you drink, and you're going to want to talk about them, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And so it's nice
and
to have a forum for that.
have them find their place within your toolbox or tool shed or
Yeah.
wherever.
So, what's up? I know you obviously are not teaching or working right now, but what kinds of
Mhm.
plans do you have for the upcoming year?
Uh,
Teaching and working.
Lots more artwork now since at home,
Yeah.
and gonna put that online for print on demand stuff. So if people like them, they can order them as posters, and
Neat.
I think that'll be fun and
You can have an Etsy shop or
make it,
something.
yeah, something like that. There's like Printify, and
Yeah.
there's all these print on demand things that basically interface their website, and then I don't have to deal with any of the printing and all that. And can
Yeah,
just
so
set it all
guys,
up and it get shipped.
Jordan is an artist. I'm going to get my picture so everyone can see it.
Little plug.
So not only is Jordan an amazing manual therapist, but he's also an artist who painted me this, which I just love. And I keep it above my altar. And he's just got lots and lots of gorgeous art. So if any of you guys want beautiful physical body art, I don't know, what do you call it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know yet. It's trying to make it like anatomical, but not the same old of this is a muscle and that's
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but more that there's a simplified version of it that anyone can understand, and then ramp it up to the complex so that we all have something to ponder and have a conversation about. And then secretly, it's all not so secret, formulating into a book of just basically taking the sacred geometry of triangles and spirals throughout the whole body, what it means, how you can see them, and cross-connecting all the dots.
I love it. Can't wait to see it.
So yeah, I don't know, sacred human architecture.
Oh, I love that. There you go.
Yeah.
Sacred human architecture. That feels like a good title. So before we go, actually, we have a little more time, don't we? We have time.
I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah. Well, I have somebody coming in my office in 15 minutes. Let's see. What are you out there trying to do? Like, what's your mission? This is such a complicated question. I'm going to do it anyway. What is your mission as a healer, as a body worker, as a teacher? What are you focused on?
Yummy. Well, the first thing that came to mind was touch. Especially these times, in the conversations of what's essential and non-essential, and the front line, I definitely think after whatever transpires, but all this distance, that anyone providing touch and even just space to listen, I think will be the second line, and a really crucial line in assisting people through whatever they've been through, are going through, etc.
Processing the trauma of this.
Yeah. And so then before the current times, it was still also just touch, changing the way that people touch. So often therapists are providing the stimulation where they are doing the touching to the body, they are doing the fixing. And to just switch that off and just hold and listen.
Yeah.
That we can listen through many other things other than our ears. And to really just provide that safe space that it's okay, and whatever works. So safety for the client and safety for the therapist, to not have so much worry and doing the fixing, weights off your shoulders.
Totally.
And that, through that, all answers are there, through that ability to listen. Wild things can be heard.
Ooh. Did you make that quote up?
That last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the spot.
Through listening, wild things can be heard. Love it. Got lost in the imagery of that. Really beautiful.
Glad you think so.
I do, yeah. I do. Okay. Well, we might as well show your gift. You have a gift for us.
Sure, I do. Two. And first is just a reminder that one simple conscious breath can be a meditation, and you can do this at any point in time in the day. In fact, we can do it right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope everyone else shared in that.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to remember, and just remember to breathe.
And it's a connecting thing, right? So I always feel very connected to you anyway, but as we were breathing together, it was a
Sure.
reminder of that.
Yeah. The Navajo thought that the air, that's the collective, the all, the everything. So not only was breath so important, but also what you put out and say into that collective and all, because it's for all to hear and feel and
Mhm.
experience. So being very clear with both your breath and your word.
Mm.
And then number two, I guess I'll kind of hum this, but this was given to me from a Waldorf, like a Steiner school up here,
Mm.
teacher. And so it's meant for kids, but it's gotten stuck in my head and it's been just a beautiful mantra. And so I want to share it with everyone.
Okay.
So here we go. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is healthy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so glad every little cell in my body is well.
Oh,
So
that's
may that
great.
get stuck in your head and be a lovely little mantra.
Yep. It reminds me of, let's see if I can find it. That system I was telling you about, Quantum K. Quantum K, for people who are listening, is a system, a modality that is free online for anyone to Google and use. The way I've been using it is either in trance, if people are in a trance state, or simply when I'm doing craniosacral or they're laying on the table, I will read these words to them. And one of the statements, one of the strong affirmations is, every cell in my body vibrates with perfect health. And
There
I
you
just love the way that feels
go.
in my energy.
I can tell.
Yeah. Did I start like glowing or anything?
No, just
Radiant.
very intense.
Yeah.
Very clear.
I really mean it. Yeah. And the other one is, I heal quickly and easily.
Lovely.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That'd be the non-rhyming adult
Yeah, it's not
version.
rhyming. I like yours. Every little cell in my body is healthy. It's cute.
Seriously, it'd be like yesterday going around gardening and be like, just finally out of my head, and then
Yeah,
Stephanie, my partner, would start humming it, just crack
right.
me up. But it's funny how infectious it is as we talk about disease and infections, and so go out there and infect somebody in a positive and empowering way,
Right.
and this little ditty that she came up with has been incredible.
Yeah, instead of being infected with like doom and gloom and the fact that New
Exactly.
York City needs 30,000 respirators or whatever, just sing yourself a song about being healthy in your cells. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you can do something, what is it? Why worry? It's a Dalai Lama quote. Why worry about it? If you can do something about it, why worry about it? If you can't do something about it, why worry about it?
Right. Yeah. Worry is a lot of wasted energy.
Fully. And doesn't do well for the immune system. So
No, that's true.
hum a ditty, take deep breaths, exhale all the way if you're hyperventilating,
Mm-hmm.
drink quality water,
Mm-hmm. Get in the sun.
get in the sun.
Get in
And
the sun.
I don't know, what do you think? What would be a good suggestion for those that are lacking at least one person in their direct life to get touch? The sun self-stimulates, self-massage.
Honestly, I would massage myself if I wasn't
Yeah.
with like a super great toucher. I'm
An
lucky in that
animal,
way. Yeah,
go
an
to the animal
animal.
shelter.
Yeah.
Go to the animal shelter and go hang out with them and pet them and love them. But yeah,
Touch the
touch
earth too. Touch the earth.
for
Get down
sure.
and put your hands on the ground. Put your feet on the ground. I
Hug a
think a lot
tree.
of, I mean, I think touch is essential from other people. Absolutely. But I think a lot of times we can get adequate touch through our environment and from ourselves.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that.
not forever, but we can get by.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you.
I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
You too.
Bye.